You can't control when a seizure is going to happen. The brain is a mystery, and these things happen at the wrong times, and you feel so helpless and out of control. But when you do something, it's an action. I'm being proactive, and we all just want our kids to be healthy and happy. Talk About It just gives me a place to bring all of that together, and I can't thank this community enough. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this platform. Hey, I'm Greg Grunberg, and welcome to Talk About It, the podcast where we focus on topics that everybody should be talking about, and hopefully they will, or not only talking about, but screaming about.
Epilepsy shouldn't keep you from doing anything that you want to do.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
This season, we are going to continue to talk about living with epilepsy, like my son and millions of Americans who do. We're also going to be looking at other related conditions and causes. Our goal is to knock down, drag out, eliminate stigma, and raise awareness. Oh, and hopefully have a laugh or two along the way. Each of our episodes will feature amazing advocates and champions. We will learn together how to make a real difference in our own lives and in the lives of our communities.
Talking about it is important. It's all about connecting.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
New season, new look, new sponsor. Thank you to Neurelis and everyone at Neurelis for sponsoring Talk About It. Talk About It is also sponsored by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. Thank you, Jazz, for always being there for us. All right, let's jump right into this episode of Talk About It.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Talk About It with Nick Marzock. Sorry, Greg, I'm still in control this episode. This is the final part of our two-part series where Greg is the guest. He's giving perspective and advice, answering questions that have come in over the years from caregivers or people living with epilepsy. If you missed part one, the last episode, I highly recommend you go check that out because Greg is getting real. He spoke about what he and his wife, Elizabeth, went through, the emotions and feelings they had when Jake was first diagnosed with epilepsy, their perseverance as a family, all of this great stuff that can help you. You are not alone. Everybody has something, and that episode will help you to see that. This episode will wrap up this little mini two-part series, and we're going to get practical. What routines Jake has established for seizure prevention, how to talk to doctors and what to do in a medical appointment, how to research new treatments and be your own advocate. At the end, we'll talk about the future of Talk About It. And then next episode, Greg will host again. I gotta be honest, I like this job. So let's get back into the conversation with Greg on this episode of Talk About It.
I do not like you sitting in the captain's chair, but I love you, and I know it's all for good, and you care so much about this community. You, for people don't understand, Nick is family. Nick is, I call him my oldest son, and you care about Jake, you care about Ben, Sam, we are family. We are family in this community. Let's get the questions rolling. I hope we don't get too personal, but I don't care.
Let's get
fair
personal.
Game for any question.
That's why they're tuning in, to get personal.
Let's go.
You queued it up perfectly. What the first question I have for you is, which is, and I might even be able to speak to this. How do you talk to family and friends about epilepsy to help them understand and be supportive?
Okay. Well, first of all, you need to know that not every family member is going to understand. They're not going to get it, and that's okay. But you put them immediately in this family category where your expectations are so high, and you're going to say, okay, they're family, so they get it, and they're going to care as much as I do. And they do care, but people are scared. Seizures are scary, and they don't want to be responsible because we know that seizures can kill or hurt somebody. So if you leave somebody alone, if you leave your son, daughter, your spouse, your friend, your brother, your sister, whatever, alone with somebody, now it's on them. Now it's theirs. So realize, just give them a little compassion. Not everyone is going to understand and be confident around somebody with epilepsy.
Yeah.
Number two, ignorance is just an uneducated person. They're not being, dismissive. They're not making light of it. So flip those moments on their side, flip them around, because then now you've got their attention. And, sometimes the compassion can go a little too far. Every time, caregivers, you're listening to this is going to hit home. Every time you talk to your friends, the first thing they say is, so how's your son doing? I mean, it's like, and I say, oh, all three of them are doing great. They
Yeah.
don't mean anything by it,
Yeah.
but it's top of mind. It's something to talk about, right? Talk about it at school. Talk about it at work. Talk about it with friends and family. Every opportunity you get. When talking, you asked me about talking to family. Let's talk about little kids for a second, right? There is no reason to sit and get clinical when you're talking to, other brothers and sisters and be like, okay, so this seizure, if blood comes out of their mouth, they may have bit their tongue and blah, blah, blah. Don't scare the kids. You don't have to. Just make sure that they're aware of what to look for so they can call mommy and daddy. They can, make you aware because they are the real heroes here. The siblings are the ones that can, most times will see some strange activity. And by the way, if they see something, the kid who has epilepsy is going to be like, no, it wasn't. They're going to be defiant because they don't want to. They don't want to be the one. I had a seizure. It's like, and make sure that you talk to the person that has epilepsy. Make sure they know it's not their fault. It's never their fault. It's not, it's epilepsy's fault. It's the seizure's fault. It's not their fault. They didn't do anything wrong to cause the seizure. This is just a medical thing that happens. Explain that to the other kids too. But also, you have to share time. The time you spend with the child who has the condition is special time. Whether you think it's special or not, it is a pain in the butt and not time you want to spend in the hospital overnight or whatever. But the other kids don't know that. That's special alone time that their sibling had with their parents. And so you need to make sure you make time like that, not in the hospital, but special time. I learned that from my parents many years ago. Have special time with each child. And even if it's just you're driving in the car and you go, okay, Emma, where are we going? And she's like, what? You go, I'm not driving until you tell me where to go. And the kid's like, what? Yeah. You want me to go straight? Yeah, go straight. Tell me when to make a right. And she's like, oh, make a right here. I mean, it's so stupid, but it empowers the kid. It empowers everybody. And like, oh, this is my time. And it's just shared control, and it's shared special moments. Those are so small and they're so easy to do. Try it. Trust me, you will light up the face of the siblings and light up the face of the one who's dealing with it.
I can also speak a little bit to because when I first met you, not the first time we ever met in person, but maybe the second or third time was when I flew out to do the Netathon that you hosted for epilepsy. And I performed, a band from TV performed. It was such a fun event. And there were a lot of instructions on what to do seizure first aid during the Netathon. So I had a little bit of an advantage that like the third time I'm spending time with you, I'm getting a walkthrough of what to do. But aside from that, you also followed up. It was very casual how you do it. We'd be by the pool or something, and you would just give me these little tidbits of like, hey, just give him a hug, lay him down, and kind of learning through osmosis. And the surprising thing is how much it was tapped into just common sense and definitely dispelling the misconceptions and stuff about the tongue, about the wallet and the mouth that just don't put it like that stuff's important, but also just like conversational, like that.
Yeah. So family and outside family pick up on how you handle or talk about this whole thing. So if you're talking about epilepsy and you have to make sure that don't do it like that.
Yeah.
Stay calm. Kids, especially, they pick up on every kind of subtle behavior. They're going to mirror your behavior. So like you're saying, you don't have to say, okay, today for the next hour, we're going to talk about, and here's a dummy and we're going to use this dummy to lay it on its side. No. Yeah. I mean, CPR is the time for that. This is all just, if there's a moment, you just be like, wow, see those flickering lights? You're in Target and you're like, those lights are flickering. That could cause a seizure. What? Oh, yeah. Some people are light sensitive to that. Anyway, so do you want to go to little moments and they all add up. So it's a balance though, because you don't want to always be talking about epilepsy, but at the same time, like you're saying, just make it part of, your everyday conversation. Find those moments, find those little nuggets to educate.
To your point, mirroring, you just brought up, the family. My dad used to do these things where we would have a family meeting. And it made my sister and I just like when he's just, we need to have a family. And it just felt so regal or something.
Formal.
And it just, you kind of tune out during whatever's and you're already but when you just talk to me dude, just, give him a hug and bring him down. The fact that you're so calm telling me this thing that is new for me, because up until I met you and Jake, I have not had epilepsy around me in my immediate circle. So it was a little bit scary. It's the only word I could say of like, oh no, am I going to do it right? Am I going to mess something up? But the way you were talking is like, no, dude, it's just like what you think you should do. Just do that and it's going to be fine.
Yep. All right. Next question.
Are there daily routines or practices that you have noticed make a big difference in Jake's quality of life?
Certainly. 100%. There's so many, but, as far as like his physical, I would say, naps. We all talk about it, whether you have a condition or not. Naps are really healthy, like a quick 15-minute, 20-minute nap. If you can do it. It takes me like 2 hours of social media scrolling to go to sleep, but that's a whole other problem. But Jake we've definitely seen over the years. I mean, I can't remember a time where he doesn't take a nap. A lot of these medications, they do, it's not necessarily a side effect, but there's an effect. I hate using the word side. Like this is an effect. This medication affects you a certain way. So it's not a side effect. This is the way to, and drowsiness comes with it, So, give your body the rest that it needs if you can. I know people out there right now, somebody's driving going, yeah, right. I can't take a nap at work. What am I going to do? I get it. We totally get it. But on the weekends, take a nap if you can, just think about that kind of thing. Jake is very strict with his diet. I can universally say this. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what I'm talking about, but sugar, epilepsy, seizures love sugar. Mm-hmm. They love carbs. They love artificial food. They love fast food. And I know it's more expensive to seek out fresh foods and stuff, but in the middle of a store, stay away from it. I mean, look, you go to the grocery store, all the stuff around the fresh stuff is all around the outside of the market. Everything that has a shelf life and will last on the moon is in the middle of the store. So just notice that like all the produce is on the outside. Everything else, like the fresh stuff, the yogurts, the dairy, all that stuff is in a case that's along the outside walls because it's fresh. Yep. Don't just try to be more aware. But with Jake, he is so conscious of his carbs and his health and sugar. He just doesn't put that crap in his body. Mm-hmm. And we've definitely noticed, a change. Exercise, the endorphins, Jake exercises regularly. He does Taekwondo. That is something that he goes to for his mental. I mean, he's a 2nd degree Taekwondo black belt. Mm-hmm. And so is his girlfriend, Addie. Like she's, jujitsu black belt. There's something about that.
They have a real Mr. and Mrs. Smith kind of thing happening.
Yeah, exactly. Don't mess with them. There's something about having a discipline, having something that you find that you love, that you can get better at, whether it's an instrument or something. I'm telling you, there's something about it. It's like this muscle memory that seizures cannot fight. And it's so healthy for you. Even if that's just taking a walk and listening to something, or taking a walk and having a conversation. They've done studies on this, that it's the physical and the mental together that really is healthy for you. And then I just highly recommend normalizing your life as much as possible. Jake is not afraid to go out, with friends and late at night. He'll take a nap before, so he prepped for it. He doesn't drink alcohol. We're in the band together. I don't drink, but just because I don't like it, and many years ago, now it's a joke. It's like, oh, Grunny's not. And then when I do have a whiskey, you guys are like, whoa, look at this guy. So, but it's okay to be different. It's okay. And you don't have to explain yourself. And this is where you don't have to talk about it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, like your first date, you don't have to be like, all right, look, I like long walks on the beach and I might have a seizure now and again. Yeah. Like you don't have to spill it right there.
Yeah.
But the opportunity, when it does present itself, as soon as it does, grab that opportunity. You'll have peace of mind. They'll have peace of mind. And if they don't understand, or they don't want to be around someone that has a seizure, they're not your friends. Find different friends.
Let's talk about tips from, to the caregiver now. Medical appointments. We've talked about this before on the show, but what are some practical, easy to, follow tips for handling medical appointments and advocating at those appointments for your loved one's needs?
Okay, so first I have to recommend that everybody watches both episodes of Janet. We've had her on. She's the physician assistant between Jake and his neurologist or epileptologist. So watch those episodes because Janet has been incredible, and we've made videos. But to answer this question, don't wait before your appointment to start writing things down. It's really important. Keep a journal in your head, out of your head, on paper. It's, even if you think this thing's really stupid, like I was brushing my teeth, and the next thing I know, I couldn't remember. Like you and I, we're driving. There's times when you're driving in the car and you're like, I don't know how I got from the 405 to these little things. That's not a seizure, but that's just like you're on autopilot or whatever.
Right.
And even if it's not a seizure, there have been times when we'll go into the doctor's appointment with a list, and half of the things, Janet will be like, nah, that's not a seizure. No, that's normal. That's normal. That's normal. Mood changes. Keep a journal of that. If you all of a sudden find, that your son or your daughter or your husband or brother or sister, or whatever, is pissed off, and that can be an emotional seizure. That can be like something in the brain, or it can be a side effect from a medication. So write it all down. Keep a journal of your daily life. Triggers, food, allergies, things that stress you out, anything that might bring on a seizure. The doctor needs to know about that. That's really important. Triggers, food, allergies, things that stress you out, anything that can bring on a seizure. Write it down. Don't go to the doctor's appointment alone. Don't. I know you want your independence, but I'll tell you right now, if you can go with a caregiver, if you can go with a friend or a family member, you might say something and then the friend's like, wait a minute, and encourage your caregiver, your friend, your spouse, your brother, sister who goes with you to speak up.
Yep.
Because you might say something and then the doctor's, that's not right.
Yeah.
Or you might not remember certain things. You're the one having the seizure. As a caregiver, it's okay to correct the patient, correct your loved one, or just add to it. It's sort of that improv exercise. Yes, and. They say something and they go, yeah, you know what? And I've also saw him do something great. Or yeah, and well, you haven't really been doing that anymore. No, that, whatever. Don't be afraid to speak up. The more information that you can provide that the doctor and your, support staff, your treatment staff or whatever, the people in your team, the better your treatment's going to be.
What about advocating for your needs? What's the best way to do that? Because there's a power dynamic when you walk into a doctor's office. At least for me, whenever I go in, I'm a little intimidated, and this person's the expert. So if I don't agree with something, what's the best way to advocate for either a loved one or your own needs if you're not really sure that what you just heard is right, or if you want a second opinion? How do you handle that?
So this is a really, really tough and a really great question. I don't know who sent that in or if that's your question, but it's a tough one because you want to trust wholeheartedly in the person that you're putting your care in the hands of. And better than anybody else, your body or the person that you're caring for, you are the best advocate for yourself. And you might hear something and then you leave and go, man, you know what? I don't agree with that. Speak up at the doctor's office. Don't be afraid to speak up. I'll tell you something. Doctors, and especially in the neurology field, they have egos because they are the smartest. They're heroes, man. They are heroes. These men and women are brilliant minds. And especially right now, all this new information's coming at them, new technologies, AI, they're learning so much more. So the more information you can provide them, the better, because no two patients are the same. So they might just, be going on the last 5 patients they've had. But meanwhile, no, bananas affect you. You've got to say, no, you know what? No, that's not right because there's too much sugar in the banana from this, whatever. I'm just saying, you never know. Speak up. Don't be afraid to speak up and advocate for yourself. And then as far as the second opinion goes, I have brought that up to a couple of neurologists, a couple of epileptologists, and they encourage it. All they want is the person you're caring for or you to not have seizures. That's all they want. They don't care about being right or wrong. Ultimately, they really don't. There are times where you'll say, I saw this thing online about this guy who says blah, 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 and they're going to immediately dismiss that. They're going to be like, all right, don't stop looking at, do you want to get your, they're not going to say this, but they're thinking this. You want to get your medical care from from TikTok, or do you want to get it from me and I understand that, but there might be something that you hear that might help them. You never know. I have found stuff that I've told my regular doctor about me that he's like, oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting, because there have been like medications that help other areas that, like these GLP-1s, right? They're finding that they're helping in so many other areas.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to have that conversation. Don't be afraid to speak up because, there's no such thing as a stupid comment at a doctor's office. Let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. So kind of speaking on that, let's talk about treatments and therapies. How do you stay up to date, informed on new treatments and therapies? And also, how do you bring that up to a doctor? Because again, this is like I'd be afraid to look like I was insulting a doctor's intelligence by telling them about a drug. But, is there a chance they might not have heard of this thing that you saw a commercial for, or you got an article,
100%. It happens all the time. Doctors are so busy. It used to be that they have to read journals now. Every doctor uses AI. They go back to their office and they say, patient exhibiting this and this and this and this and this. And then the computer goes, oh, it might be this and that, because there's combinations of certain things. They call them comorbidities. I love that term. I don't like the word morbid and anything, but there is comorbidities where it's like, oh, if you are on the spectrum, you can also have, more of an opportunity to have seizures or whatever. They can cross-reference things all the time, but they can't cross-reference things if you don't tell them something that's going on with you or that you heard about that relates to you. In my business, right, I'll read a script. Like J.J. Abrams, my best friend in the world, right? He'll give me a script that he wrote and he's like, read it. And I'm not reading it with the same level of intelligence that he wrote it. I'm just not. I mean, he's just way above me, right? But we're best friends and he doesn't care. The comment that I give him, it's not what I'm saying. He takes the essence of what I'm saying and he's like, oh, I hear what you're saying, but I think what you're really saying is that part of the movie is slow for you. It's like, yes. Yeah. And I don't know how to articulate it. So you might explain something to a doctor and they're looking at the sense of what you're saying. And they're looking at more than just the words and the meanings that you're saying. They're looking at the bigger picture and why you even thought that would be related to you and why you're even concerned about it. So I just think it's, don't ever be ashamed to bring things up to the doctor. I just think it's important. Now, how do I find out about new treatments? I'm privy to a lot of stuff. I go to these conferences, I speak all the time and whatever. And I talk to a lot of these doctors, but again, the more you talk to people, the more you're going to hear. Forums are great online. You can learn a lot. You can also get scared out of your mind. So don't take everything you see for a grain of salt. It doesn't relate to you. Don't be terrified, especially if you're newly diagnosed. But social media is a really good place to learn about new things. And the more you search for those things, the algorithm is going to find you and then it's going to be providing you with things. It is going to be providing you with a lot of snake oil salesmen and things like that. But in the world of epilepsy, there isn't too much. And, one thing is that we have great sponsors, right? Jazz Pharmaceuticals, Neurelis, and then we have others that sponsor events that we do and stuff. And one thing I hear from them is they're like, it's really hard for us to reach the patients because there are these guardrails, they're right. There's HIPAA laws. They can't, privacy and whatever. So there are new technology, new therapies and new things that they're trying to let us know about that we're not allowed. They're not allowed to have our direct information to blast out. That's what Talk About It's all about. We've created this community. So we're hoping we interview CEOs of these pharma companies. We interview, we call KOLs, which are the doctors. And we talk to them. What's the latest and greatest? So fish around. At talkaboutit.org, not just because we created it and we're proud of it. It really is a great resource for sure. Don't be fooled by a lot of the BS that's out there. But Talk About It is a great place to know that it's reliable information, newest therapies and newest products that are available.
Speaking of that, I have two more questions for you. And this one is about Talk About It. So what role has Talk About It played in spreading awareness and building a support network? And you speak to examples you've seen or just generally, what role is it playing in the epilepsy community? I
am constantly surprised by people that stop me on the street, that used to stop me on the street and go, hey, I loved you in Star Wars. I loved you in Heroes. I loved you in Alias. I could go on. Felicity. Now it's 50-50. We are really reaching, the wave is cresting and people are finding a community and they're feeling like they're not alone. And that's what it does. I mean, I get people stopping me and they're like, thank you for what you're doing in the epilepsy community. And my cousin or my brother-in-law, my husband, my wife, my daughter, my son, whatever. And we sit and we have a story. At Comic-Cons, people come up and tell me, oh, I love what you're doing at Talk About It. It's become this thing. And yes, there's merchandise coming. Everybody sees these hats that we have, and they're all like, how do we get a hold of the hats? We haven't set up our store yet, but we're definitely going to do that. But I have to say, selfishly, what Talk About It has done for me and my family is there is such a feeling of helplessness and a dark tunnel that you feel like you're in. And you know what I'm talking about. If you're listening to this right now, either you're a patient or you're a caregiver, you feel so alone. You're like, I don't want to be a member of this club. I don't want to label. I don't want this. This is the worst. And the control, the lack of control that you have. You can't control when a seizure is going to happen. You can certainly eat right and exercise and do all that stuff, but the brain is a mystery, and these things happen at the wrong times, and you feel so helpless and out of control. But when you do something, when you become a member of a forum, when you start a charity, a fundraiser, get a group together, join a group of people online, and have a FaceTime meeting with a bunch of other caregivers, whatever. You feel like you're controlling the situation in a way. So Talk About It for me has given me this, I'm not reacting so much as it's an action. I'm being proactive, and it gives me power and control in personally, just in a world that's been so out of control at so many points, when Jake's having a seizure or he's having brain surgery or whatever, his journey has been a roller coaster. And I always tell people, try to enjoy every moment of it. No, not this roller coaster. Yeah. There's been so many moments that we just had not enjoyed and hated, and I never, ever want anyone to experience. But, Talk About It has given me the friendship, the community, the bonding, and also I got to say, not that it's a litmus test, because everybody has been supportive. Everybody in our band, Scott Grimes, Adrian Pazdar, Bob Guinea, Jamie Denton, Jesse Spencer, Brad Savage, everybody that they've always supported. Whenever I've had like an event or something, you guys are like, yes, there's never a no. Every celebrity at talkaboutit.org, I reach out to them personally and I say, hey, this is a personal issue for me. Will you help? And it just gives a bonding thing. It's like, there's nothing wrong with leaning on people and asking for help, or asking them to be a part of something bigger than them. Everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to have something that they can say, wow, I did something good today. I mean, there's such hatred in the world, and we all just want the same thing. We all want our kids to be healthy and happy. Talk About It just gives me a place to bring all of that together. And I can't thank this community enough. And I do it all the time, but this is a selfish thing for me. And I know people thank me all the time. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you for it. Not everybody is going to be a Nick Marzock that it becomes family and will literally do anything I ask for you, and vice versa. I'll do anything for you. But it's, this is health. This is happiness. And we only get one time on this planet. So, we got to make the most of it, and Talk About It helps me do that.
You might be able to answer this. You might not. What do you see for the future of Talk About It?
Well, we're definitely expanding out. We've had other causes reach out and ask for the help in coalescing and supporting those communities. So the bleeding disorder community is one that I just got back from Denver from the National Bleeding Disorder Conference. And they need so much support. They need to talk about it. It's such a misunderstood thing. And there's so many horrible stories in that world. Women are misdiagnosed. You bleed. Okay. You bleed more than normal. No, they used to say that only males, only boys have bleeding disorders. That is ridiculous. That's as bad as sticking something in someone's mouth, or, the devil is controlling your child when they have a seizure. It's those same kinds of things that are so pervasive, and they still, are out there. So we're helping that community. We just started there. But mainly in the epilepsy community, we're going to be expanding out into so many other areas. We're doing, more of these videos, reaching more. It's such an incredible time for the epilepsy world. So, the podcast is important. We're doing that. We're helping the MS community. Amanda Foreman, she's going to be doing a podcast, limited, but we'll do a few episodes for her and see how that goes. But we're really branching out and helping, because this model works, and it can be replicated with different conditions. We've, I'm sorry if there are people that are knocking on our door right now and saying, "Help, we want to do it right. The way we did for the epilepsy and we continue to do for the epilepsy community, we want to be able to do it right." So bleeding disorders is our big concentration now outside of epilepsy. But we're doing, both at the same time, and we're staffing up, and it's great. It's Pierce Josa. If you don't know Pierce Josa, he's incredible, great actor.
Go back and listen to that episode too. He is just a whirlwind of fun and personality.
Yeah, and he doesn't have epilepsy, but he's part of our company. He's part of this group, and he's doing great things on social media and helping us. But it's that we're just building the community bigger and bigger, and the company bigger and bigger. So the more we can help, the happier we are.
Last question for you, just on all of this, kind of to button it up. Finally, how can the broader community, whether through Talk About It or other platforms, do more to support families dealing with epilepsy? And I'm going to annotate this question a little bit with, what can people in the community do to help the broader community support the people in that community, if that makes sense to you?
I would like to see more cross-pollination, right? It's great to sort of build your numbers over here and build your numbers over here and but we can all be part of this, this sunflower, right? The center can be an amalgamation of all of us. Mm-hmm. We're all stronger and better when we all work together. Mm-hmm. So, as much as you want to start your own fundraising thing, why don't you join somebody else's that's already doing it? And share. Be proud of this community. Share content that you see. That really helps grow the community. And then here at Talk About It, we're going to start doing more engaging things where it's going to be more content that's created by the people that are following us. We're going to do more live stuff. Mm-hmm. I want to tap into the 300,000 people plus that we have now. And I want to do live discussions. I want to do, kind of thing where I can take questions live and have guests on and really celebrate the heroes in our community, because there's a lot of them, mm-hmm. From doctors to caregivers to patients to people that are doing incredible things. We're just about to showcase these dogs, unbelievable seizure dogs. They're service dogs, but there's this group in San Diego. I don't want to give it away too much, but it's coming up in an episode soon. Don't stop. The more you fill your brain with our community, the better you're going to feel, the more empowered you're going to feel, and the more knowledge you have. Like, it goes back to the other question. You want to know about new stuff? Learn more. Talk about it.
What can the broader community do to support families dealing with epilepsy? Like, how can people outside the epilepsy community help people in the epilepsy community and the families going through this?
I think just have an understanding and educate yourself and have knowledge as to what to do, and be supportive, but don't be condescendingly supportive. You know what I mean? Like, just be there for others. Let them know that, hey, like if you learn what to do if someone has a seizure, which you can learn in 5 seconds at Talk About It, let that person know, hey, you know what? I've been educated. I know exactly what to do. So if you want 5 minutes to yourself, you want a half hour, you want to go grab something to eat, I'm fine. I'll come over and watch your child or be there or drop them off or whatever. I got you. Be supportive. It's so easy. And it's not charity, by the way. It's not charity. I'm using these hand quotes here because that word means I need help. No one wants to be someone who needs help. Right. And by the way, it's okay to be someone who needs help. I mean, I need help. Everybody needs help. But at the same time, don't look at it as charity. Just look at it being a good person. If you want to help somebody who's in the epilepsy community, support them. Tell them, hey, I get it. And don't treat them any different. That's the thing. Also, don't be afraid to ask questions of that person. A lot of times we see somebody in a wheelchair and we're like, oh, I don't want to go over it. The problem with epilepsy is we're not in wheelchairs. I don't have epilepsy, but my son does, and he's not in a wheelchair. He doesn't present. You don't know he has epilepsy. But if you did find out about it and you're like, wow, don't be like walking away with questions. Ask them. Yep. Jake loves talking about it. He doesn't like being always the first person to bring it up. Right. It doesn't
and treat it as if there's something wrong. Like, I think that's the key. Is like, ask about it, talk about it, but don't assume that it's like a problem or that it's sad or that it's
No one wants anyone to feel sorry for themselves. For them. Don't feel sorry for anybody in the epilepsy community. Just support them.
Yep. Well, Greg, I really thank you for being a guest on Talk About It with Nick Marzock. It was such a great
you're not getting paid more, buddy. Okay? That's not the way this works at Talk About It. You took this upon yourself. You're the one that wanted to ask the question. Wait, don't cut me off. Do not cut me off.
Transmission ended.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Talk About It with Greg Grunberg. Sponsored by Neurelis and by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. Thank you to our special guests for joining us, and thank you J.J. Abrams for the theme music that you're hearing right now. Talk About It is produced by Ken Lowenberg, Greg Grunberg and Nick Marzock. Editing, directing and incidental music by Nick Marzock. Go to talkaboutonvideo.com to watch these episodes, and as always, don't forget to talk about it. This podcast is a production of the Talk About It Company and Motel Podcasts.